Hello everybody and welcome back to the Saints stream here. Today we've got some more Monday night Valorant action for you. I'm Josh Fundy Pafundi, joined tonight by Dan Banner, our background production manager here, but coming in for the cast today for some exciting Valorant rematch actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, these two teams had the opportunity to play each other twice from what Coach Owen was telling us a little bit earlier. The first time they got to play in the NECC's regular season. And that won the Saints' favor. I believe is either 2-1, 2-0, and winning that best of 3 nonetheless. But then I believe it was playoffs for NECC.
Yeah, NECC that's quarterfinals, I believe.
NECC quarterfinals, yeah. They turned it right around and took us out in, I believe it was rather convincing fashion on NECC's stream itself, which is eerily familiar to what kind of happened yesterday in the Canadian Nationals when you really think about it, because a very similar situation happened, except it was like against a Wilfred Laurier. We took them out. 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, they were able to be the better team yesterday. But its team did seem like they were in pretty good spirits nonetheless for this matchup tonight, and definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be like a bit of a rerun, kind of, even though it is semifinals, almost like a grand finals, kind of like a grudge match in and of itself, as these teams are 1-1, and Stony Brook, as we've been told, is just on an absolute tear right now. They're just feeling really good. They came second in the last chance qualifier for the Red Bull Campus Clutch, which is that's nothing to scoff at, right? That's a very a very premium, like a high tier tournament to be placing second,
and only to go down to what was, I guess, labeled one of those mixed super teams of sorts. I know you've probably heard us joke around about Big Pizza, but basically that was they're all collegiate players, but all from different colleges. I think this was one was like
Money Crew, I believe
the Money
was
Crew.
The name, yeah.
It was a very, very similar situation where it was just basically a super team of strong players across multiple colleges. So if Stony Brook, if they only fell to that, I wouldn't be too disappointed if I were them. That's a very tough task nonetheless, and the second is still a major accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely. And then coming off of that, they're going to be coming straight back into the NECC. And this is also a big one because on the other side of that semifinal bracket, you've got Ottawa Garnet there and Fisher College being, I believe, their first seed being Fisher, and then fourth seed, I believe, is Ottawa. So that's two very strong teams. Our Valorant team, bringing it all the way back to first Valorant season of NECC. They dropped in grand finals to Ottawa Garnet. That's a team that's got a big history behind them in a lot of games. And then Fisher College, of course, just coming in this year and just being the absolute powerhouse that they are.
Yeah, powerhouse, but defeatable. Because we have done it a couple of times there, but at the same time, then Ottawa beats us. And all of a sudden, there's other teams that come out of the nowhere, like Stony Brook, for example. It seems like the top 8 can beat anybody at any given time, which is absolutely ridiculous, but extremely exciting.
Yeah, and for Valorant, I know we say on any given Sunday, but it seems like it's on any given Monday here for Valorant, as Monday has kind of just become the Valorant night here. But as we're waiting on the rest of the map picks to come through, we might just end up throwing it to a quick break here. But we do know that map 1 will be Haven. Rest of the picks to be determined. So we're starting it off.
Anybody surprised?
Yeah, one for 3 on the collegiate special of map picks there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Haven, it's been played to death basically this entire season. Seems like every team's especially go-to starter, just having so many additional extra routes to go through. They have the 3 routes instead of the 2 on this map, nonetheless. Relatively narrow corridors, but actually some decently long sight lines as well. Should be relatively interesting once we get into the swing of things. However, though, like you're just mentioning, we're kind of waiting on contact from the opponents to begin with, let alone getting the rest of our maps. So unless you have anything additional to add for our pre-show here today, might need to throw it to a break, like you said.
Yeah, just a bit of a hype builder for Haven here. You talked about it being the starter for a lot of those a lot of these teams, but also I think Haven is one of the maps that we see the most varied comps on. We see a lot of teams changing out what controller they're using. We've seen a few different, what am I trying to say here? Like lineups of initiators coming through, and then Haven. We've seen Sage come out, which is someone who's almost completely fallen out of the meta in a lot of maps as well. I mean, and then we see the Raze and the Jet as well from a lot of different teams. So I think there's a bit of variation in terms of agent selects, which always makes Haven a bit more of an exciting map rather than, you know, something like a Bind coming in where we often see the exact same thing from almost every single team coming in.
For sure. You and I were kind of talking about this a little bit before the broadcast actually started, how it just seems like for Haven, damage utility seems so strong.
Yeah.
And just crowd control in general. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we had the big pop-off clip there on Twitter where the combination, I believe it was Jello's Fate alongside Borges Rays, was able to find an ace basically with the paint shells alone.
Yeah.
And like just the way the map is set up just kind of traps defenders especially, to say the least, and those grenades can definitely be deadly.
Yeah, it lends well to any kind of like displacement utility or damage utility, which, you know, converts into displacement because you got to dodge the paint shells somehow. And in the end, there's only like 2 or 3 places you can run to on Haven, right? Whereas, you know, you take a lot of the other larger maps where they have a bit more options in terms of just like rotating out and kind of keeping yourself safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, you're just kind of running out in the open. Those boxes, I know I'm thinking of the C site in particular. You're kind of either hiding in the corner or you're hiding up top. But either way, if you have a grenade in there, you're running right out into the open. And
exactly.
That's no man's land.
Yeah, exactly. But as we wait for confirmation on maps and confirmation on the rest of this game, we will be throwing it off to a quick break. And we will meet you, hopefully, in Agent Select for Map 1 Haven there. just in time to get things started. St. Clair College and Stony Brook now finished with the agent select loading into game. We see pretty typical Haven comp from the side of the Saints. However, we do see that Omen coming out, which is, you know, something that a lot of the other teams have been pulling out against the Saints, but Saints typically opting for that Astra here on Haven. But now, you know, talked about in the pre-show how we see a lot of different comps on this map, and here we are with the complete mirrored comp from both sides here. Stony Brook, Sable, Tim, Huji, Ethan, and Double A Ryan coming in there. Saints gonna have your pretty typical roster here. Ems, Jello, 4-tapping Sushi, and Borge. Sushi coming off an absolutely nuts day yesterday. Was absolutely popping off in those Canadian Nationals playoffs. So looking forward to see what they've got tonight and see if they can, you know, bring it back against Stony Brook here.
It's just interesting seeing the stylistic differences. We already see Tim and Huji immediately finding two right off the bat here. 4-tapping trying to go on through. Does find Ryan over on that C side, but going to immediately run into two.
Yeah, Ethan is able to take him down. Tim not going to peek out there just yet, as both these players now stuck down around 20 HP, but Sushi has made their way all the way up this C site. Bomb, however, on that chamber there. I believe it's M's on the chamber, and that bomb is far away from this side here, but all of those players are super low. Sushi with this frenzy could get some good value there. Either way, the information valuable enough. It gives Ems this time to rotate, and now 2v3 with two players being dangerously low. This is super doable for the Saints here, should they get this plant down.
Yeah, Stony Brook really taking their time here, not trying to commit immediately. They do finally get on the move. Ems is going to find the initial shot there on a Tim. 2v2. Spiking planted just as this moment. Ethan looking to breach on through. That is a beautiful one. Going to lock down both Saints, and they're going to be able to defuse this.
Great flash by Ethan. Both the Saints there. Too concerned about CT. Forgot about that breach coming through Garage. Ethan finds himself a 3-piece to finish off that pistol round and clutches it up with that defuse as well. Stony Brook winning the pistol round pretty dominantly, but Sushi and Ems giving some resistance there near the end. Now, this is a classic Saints move right here on the second round. Grab those stingers, stinger up, and see if you can kind of shut down this bonus round that Stony Brook was able to find after the pistol. Only problem with this, we've seen Saints on the downside of this decision before, but we've also seen them take this risk and have it work out perfectly. It's all going to come out of the back of some aggression off of Forge here. You saw those blast packs coming through right at the starting, baiting out a lot of utility there. 4-tapping and Sushi kind of spotted out. Gonna have to back off from that paint shell. Tim finds the one onto Sushi. Borge gets shut down on the entry, and now the rest of Saints are like sitting ducks in this long area. It's only 4-tapping left in sewers to provide the pinch from there, but at this point, Stony Brook can just hold this so steadfast and not really have to worry about moving too much.
Yeah, that was so close there for the Saints. There was the flanker. I believe it was either Borge or Sushi in that situation trying to get the flank, but unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like this angle here for the Saints is find themselves any justice here. Jello getting kind of locked up between a rock and a hard place here. Going up against 3, Ethan going to take care of them like it's no big deal. 4-tapping in the background, going to trade one out. However, Ethan's going to find his 3rd kill of the round and take care of the Saints once again here.
Yeah, double 3Ks for Ethan coming off of those first 2 rounds. And now, here's the problem with that Stinger buy. You get shut down a little too early, and now you're playing on the back foot for another round, while Stony Brook doesn't even have to invest any more cash into rifles this round. They don't really need to do anything. They know they're going to have that weaponry advantage if they just keep those Stingers up and running, keep this aggression online. I like the way they're just kind of jiggle peeking a lot of these angles, not pushing too far up long, but getting the info that they need on that defense.
Yeah, and then that aggressive buy from the Saints again. It's not necessarily an all-in, but it definitely puts you behind if it goes wrong, as Ethan is going to immediately shut down Borge. We know how much he loves those blast pack entries. but unfortunately not going to find the mark this time by. Ethan finds another. Ryan going to take care of Ems as well. The short-handed firepower here from the Saints is really kind of coming through here. Poor tapping. Nice try to pick up the rifle, but is not going to be enough. Huji going to take care of this round once again here for the side of Stony Brook.
Yeah, Borge starting that one off aggressive once again, going even deeper into the site than normal. And while he did fall without finding that initial entry, it did give Saints the space to make that plant and make that post-plant situation alive. The only problem is you're just down in weaponry so much, and you've got Ethan there. I mean, Breach with full utility coming in on a retake is scary enough, and you know, that's even before the fact that you're sitting there with pistols and stingers and he's got a Spectre in hand and is able to just waltz right in and start spraying you down. Now Ethan 9-1, picking up the Vandal this round.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. But that being said, this is the Saints' turn to try and fight back here. They use basically everything they have to make sure they have a bunch of assault rifles. I believe I saw an op there as well on the side of the Saints here. So they're going to go down those 3 rounds, but hopefully try to snowball it. 4-tapping is about to be in for a rude awakening here, going up against at least 3 members of the side of Stony Brook. Does spot him out. Does not know if he's outnumbered maybe just yet. Maybe probably has an idea now, but he does have the backup of Borge.
Yeah, all 3 now kind of spotted out. Huji and Sable to fall first for tapping, and Jello on that breach, just kind of holding it down there in spawn. Tim is going to have to make this retreat as the rest of his team comes for some support. Here's the rotation. It's fully come through. Borge comes in on the entry, finds the first one. Flashed up just a little bit, but has the time to make it on here. There's 1 player from Stony Brook left. There's the paint shells to clean it up from Borge, and that's exactly how you want that first buy round to go. You know, it's kind of unfortunate to lose that many rifles. There's Stony Brook now just able to rebuy back up, but I mean, a round win is a round win in the end.
Yeah, Jello with the perfect timed flash there as well. Borge, in all reality, it was sitting there way out there in the open, probably could have been gunned down extremely easily. But the person that was right next to him flashed right in the nick of time, and that's going to help Borge get that final kill. Just be in position to get the Saints that round to begin with was absolutely clutch. Granted, a little closer than what we were expecting when it was full rifles versus a bunch of Spectres, but now here comes the big guns here from Stony Brook.
Yeah, especially after those first 2 picks, but now an operator is online for both sides of the coin here. There's Ems to be baiting out that first shot. Finds the follow-up shot there, and it's Ryan to fall initially. Now, Saints have the numbers advantage. They have the priority to move into A here. You see Heaven smoked off. Ethan can't really grab any intel. He has no idea how many are on site as all 5 players start flooding in. You see the flash gonna come out from Heaven here to support the team. Tim starts on the entry, spots one out in the corner with that boombot, is able to find Jello after burning all that utility. Borge is on the trade. Couple kills fall from the Saints. M's able to trade one back down to a 2v2 in the post plant.
Nice.
4-tapping, retreats back. Wow! That's the stinger play you are looking for, and that's how you keep the momentum going, even when, you know, 3 of your players in that round don't have access to rifles.
Honestly, good on there for the side of St. Clair, and nice little maneuver there from 4-tapping as well to just teleport away from the position they were originally at behind the smoke as well, making them guess, and they kind of guessed wrong there, and they kind of lined themselves up for him, which is absolutely perfect. 4-tapping, not wasting any time to dispatch them. Ems gets to keep his op as well, was playing pretty safely during that post-plant scenario as well. And now it looks like it's going to be another save round, or a slightly modified save round here for this side of Stony Brook, as they only have a couple of submachine guns.
Yeah, it looks like the Saints aren't looking to get too aggressive, at least on one specific spot at the starting. Borge hasn't sent out those paint shells just yet, but you see a few players moving up grass here to Garage, spots out the chamber, but the chamber, instant TP from Ryan. TP now down for 45 seconds, and Borge flying in with those paint shells, finds 2 on the entry. Ethan here on the flank down. This is Garage window here, but has to wait for this smoke to fade as the plant comes down. You've only got a sheriff in hand, Ethan, but Jello not necessarily looking at that angle, but still in the position where Ethan's not going to find him either unless he comes out and checks his corner. Ethan ready for that. Oh boy. The timing. Look at this timing. The shots come through. Ethan finds a couple shots through the wall. It's going to be good onto Jello, but Borge picks up 3 for the round, and now Saints can pretty well just relax here on long as they have to force this defuse to come out. whiffed shot from M. Sable
One enemy
off
remaining.
the first defuse. Another whiffed shot. M's getting dangerously low. 4-tapping moving in. The shot is good in the end. 3-4-3 or 3-2-3 now. Saints even it up after a rough first few rounds, but you know, they climb back in these buy rounds, and this is where we see the Saints shine often. I mean, Saints don't win pistol round too often.
Yeah, it's not necessarily been going their fashion some of these times here, but honestly, good on the Saints once again there for that the way they planted C, and I'm glad they didn't just rush it. A lot of times you get the first kills, you want to plant that spike as fast as possible, but usually it's right next to those boxes. Instead, like, planted it in direct sight lines of being able to go way down there. Amps has that rifle, and just going to make it nice and easy for him. Next round underway, however, and I do hear an ulti coming on through from one of the raises here. I believe that's from forward, but no conversion as of this moment. And actually, here comes the attack.
Yeah, Rolling Thunder is good from Jello. Not going to be too much push here, though. Borge has to be very cautious clearing out these angles. 3 kills, 4 kills from the Saints on that entry. And it's Ryan, the last player standing, stuck in the 1v5. Gonna have to decide, are they trying to find a couple exits? Yep, there you go. Yeah, has to try and push that one out. I think just to be on the same kind of economy level as the rest of the team, right? Just gonna take that fall there, and now Saints taking a 4th in a row. The streak is alive. We talk about the Saints being a streaky team in Valorant. Here you find one round so often the Saints convert it into 4 or 5 before any other team can really come back to them. You see another save round from Stony Brook. The cards are all in Saints' hands here.
Yeah, absolutely, as we get ready for this next attack here. But Stony Brook definitely having a little bit of a harder time there, and I'll completely agree with what you said about the Saints. When things are good, they're going great, but sometimes you get shook a little bit, and it definitely can rattle them and get them to maybe play a little bit over aggressively. That not being the case as of this moment, however, they're going to get a nice quick pick here onto one of the Stony Brook members pretty much right as that round started.
Yeah, Stony Brook going for this 5-man eco stack here, but they have chosen the wrong site. Saints running straight into C site, and this is going to be a long rotation from Stony Brook as well. They've got 4 Clairs alive, but still, you have to come all the way around this map. The spike's already planted. They're going to be able to chunk like half the time on this spike before Stony Brook can even start the retake.
And I'm surprised they committed so hard on that A site, but now they've got themselves in between a rock and a hard place here. Sushi alongside another member of the Saints are couldn't just hold this door. That being said, though, all this utility, so much damage also coming on through here as well, making things a little bit difficult. A little bit of a trade to start things off here. Jellos and Sushi are both going to fall. This is going to mean a 3-on-2 in the favor currently of Stony Brook, but they are not in position. Borges, however, going to find himself a double 1-on-1. Sable versus Ams, but there is no time on this spike, and the Saints will hang on for this one.
I mean, props to Stony Brook on that. I mean, you battle it out in Garage, and they were even up numbers before Borges just happens to be right place, right time. Stony Brook not going to check that angle and lose a few, but Sable was able to make it out of there with a rifle, and you see the economy's now kind of in check for Stony Brook as they're able to have these full buys come out. You see Tour de Force come out from Ryan as well, so Operator is going to be online for one of these teams, and it is not the Saints this round, let me tell you, as M's just a little bit too shy of that op in terms of money, but Saints coming in 2 rounds up, and still keeping this aggression alive. You see that fault line to come through right at the starting of the round. They've been doing that long just about every round, and it leaves Stony Brook kind of thinking, are they going to make this long push every round? Because Borges is super happy to throw those paint shells out and fly into A site. But sometimes you just got to play it slow. You just got to burn down this time and play for picks.
As of right now, at least Stony Brook, unlike the last round, they are taking their time in terms of like rotating. They're all spread out as of this very moment. And to be fair, Saints are kind of taking their time as well. No real noise being made either way. Or tapping up against the woman on their side here, Huji, is going to be the closest thing to spotting this one out. He's definitely got the angle. If for tapping the rest of the squad are not careful, they could very well get mowed down. The shots are going to come on through. Huji finds one's going to find 2. Absolute value there for the side of Stony Brook. But now the rest of Stony Brook have to run on towards that C site. But to be fair, they're already pretty much there, ready to go.
Yeah, 2 players already set up here, but Saints are the ones who are not going to be running straight to this C site. Was that initial push there that gave them the info about where this tour de force is set up. But now, Sushi is in a tough position here. Sushi has nothing on the fade to really displace an op here. And Ryan can just hold this down, wait till Sushi peeks out of Cubby there. It's going to take some immaculate timing for Sushi to make it out, or just some support from his teammates as they start flooding in. M's going to be the first one to get picked. That utility is good to actually spot out Ryan and allow Sushi to get the kill. The plant comes down just in time, and we've got a 2v3 for the Saints. Rolling Thunder going to be expended from the side of Stony Brook, but Ethan falls immediately to 4-tapping on site. It's just 4-tapping left. No health on 4-tapping, and he's able to find 3, but cannot convert it in the end. Sable finds that kill, finds the defuse. Stony Brook coming back into this game. First round in 5.
And with Sushi being stuck in that little corridor, trapped by that tour de force, it kind of forced the Saints' hand. Did you want to play the other sites maybe a little bit short-handed, or just converge on C, save your partner? And they did end up doing that to try and save Sushi, but unfortunately, maybe it wasn't Sushi that went down, but the tour de force still caught a Saint in the end, so they were already going down, a player down, going into that C site. They got the spike down at least last possible second, getting a little bit of extra credits that way, but unfortunately could not quite turn that one around.
Yeah, it was also just the timing too, I think. I don't think they had really time to rotate even. Maybe you could have made it to B in time, but then you don't know exactly what's on that B site. They knew that chamber was set up in the back of C site there, so at least you're able to kind of flood in. You have that extra member being Sushi, and then you're able to make that plant just in the nick of time, but now Saints are going to have to take this really slow because Stony Brook have, a bit of an advantage coming in here. They've got the money, they got the win from last round, and now Saints taking this slow creep up A. Not going to be as, typically as aggressive as they are in these first 40 seconds of the round.
And I like that a lot of the Saints' strategy is no longer just a part of board, send it and get it. As I say that, he just sends it and goes for it, but at the same time, they definitely took their time a little bit, waiting until that 1 minute mark on the round to make this one happen, and then sure enough, that pain shell is going to slow things down tremendously, as M's is going to find him pick here onto Tim as well. Spike is down. Everybody on the side of Stony Brook is running for it, but they're kind of getting choked off here. This is going to be a weird retake to try and get.
Yeah, a pick on the enemy raise was huge from Ems as he's able to shut down one of the rotations, slow it down just a little bit. Nightfall is good. Couple of Prowlers going to come in from Sable as well. Aftershock, Sable's going to have to push out here, gets shut down by Borge, and now Saints in a huge numbers advantage, and the rest of Stony Brook just going to have to run away, just going to have to save this one out, because they have to play for the future here. They can't risk another 2-3 eco rounds of letting the Saints run away with a lead here in the first half.
I mean, I'll give them credit that the decisiveness on just not sending it. You think you're going to drop that one, you need the save. They immediately did not lose anybody else. They just ran for the hills. And especially now, once the next round comes on through, we'll see the rest of the credits as well. So yeah, they're still not too bad. They're hurting a little bit after some of these lost rounds, but it was definitely not as bad as it was before, rather than looking at the Saints, however. And some of these players are... their pockets are deep, to say the least.
Yeah, to say the least. You see 4-tapping. I mean, one more round or so, and 4-tapping is going to max out there coming into this. But Sable has to force out onto a Spectre. They only had 1,900 to come through, I believe, or maybe that was post-armor buy. But it looks like, at least from the side of the fade for Stony Brook, that utility might be a little lacking coming into this round. We're going to see the bait here on that long. Ryan within that shot. Great little jiggle there from Ems to be able to bait out that info. Ethan is in a great position here. Saints starting to push up Garden. Tim, you see him on that close right side. Spotted out by the Prowler, but nobody spotted out Ethan. Not before he finds one kill. Luckily, Sushi is there on the turn, finds the trade. Sable can't fight it out with these rifles as well, and this is going to be Saints having a clear path towards A site. Only Huji here for resistance.
Gosh, that collision course looked like it could have been so much more painful for the Saints, but they actually find themselves in the position of or having two more players compared to the sign of Stony Brook here. C is open. Huji is going to take one down. However, Jello is going to be off the field for the remainder, running towards A site, thinking it's there. Not quite the case, however. It's all up to Ryan. He's the closest one towards the C site. He's not careful. That is a flanking Ems. But even Ems is getting flanked as well. This could get nasty.
The flanker's getting flanked right now. I mean, nobody is expecting Ems to be that deep, but Huji definitely not expecting it. Just starts full running down there, and Ems on an absolute tear at the end, taking down the last 2 solo on that flank. 7-4 for the Saints. Last round, looking to clean this one out at 8-4 as the forces from Stony Brook leaving them in a tough position economically here in this last round. Saints having all the money in the world. You could grab an op for Ems if you wanted. They could grab whatever they want, but they are content with just these rifles on attack, and it's been working out so well for them. You know, barring those first 3 rounds, which, you know, we know the story there.
Yeah, and one of the things I personally had to learn when, like, learning Valorant is the fact that just how critical the steps are, as we do see Borge getting the ultimate going on through. But the person who just got flanked, they ran for 1 second, and then all of a sudden, you're able to turn and burn right on them. But that being said, the attack is now underway. Saints, in fact, are going to be going towards the safe side. They seem pretty well committed. A couple of players up on high ground there. And other than that, just gets taken down by Sushi. 4 members left here on the side of Stony Brook to try and turn this one around. But the spike is down. The Saints have their post plants. I feel like we're going to just run into a grinder.
Yeah, Ethan falls through spam in the smoke, and now it's 1 member up for the Saints. Showstopper comes in from Tim. Gonna fall. 1-for-1 trade, Tim and Borge, but the ultimate is burned from Tim. Sable and Huji, a couple good picks for themselves. St. Clair College, still 1 player up. Not anymore. Huji is going nuts with this Spectre on the site. Does he know where Ems is? No, he picks the angle wrong, and Ems under heaven is gonna clean up this half for the Saints. 8-4, looking dominant right now. All they need to do is find these pistols. You know, we've seen 8-4 halves. I think we saw one yesterday as well, and Saints were able to just convert the pistols and just keep that momentum rolling. And that's all you need. Now that you're on defense, you can kind of play a little bit slower, but knowing Borge and Sushi over there on that A site, we might see a bit of a long push here, possibly some utility combos to come out. We know, you know, it's their classic Haven A defense there, and it looks more like an offense in some situations.
No, you're completely correct. How many times have we saw them almost be borderline in the spawn room, with just making the rounds, and they've been able to find that, especially the Fade Raise combo with the utility and the nades to turn this one around. And actually, this would almost would have been a prime spot for it. We do see Borge kind of stuck here, but the smoke's coming through. There's the grenades as well, going to make things just that much more difficult. And sure enough, it's something about Borge's nades and the combination there with the Fade here on Haven that is just absolutely money.
Yeah, that is just such a good combo. I mean, it's like the Astro Well, but it comes in on an initiator as well. Borge, 2nd kill of the round with that frenzy. Sushi and Borge both pretty low coming into this, but in the end it is pistol round. 1 headshot could be the tide turner. Ems with a few headhunters, and Arian gives it right back to him. There on the shots. 1 bullet in the headhunter. Ryan has to flip to this classic.
And we're going to see the rest of the Stony Brook squad making a run towards the seaside as of this moment. Closest sniper for the second is going to be port tapping. Got a bit of a trade here. Ryan is going to be able to get Jello, but Borge's going to trade out for the 3rd kill of the round here. Can he possibly find himself the ace? We'll have to see as this one goes on through. But with C-site being unsecured as of the moment, it is going to be the plant down. Uji up against port tapping. Port tapping finds one. Port tapping finds another. And they have all day to go get this spike now. Saints are going to get the pistol round.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to talk about, you know, oh, this utility has come back up. They're going to have the eye back up from the Fade. They're going to have the paint shells back up, but it's port tapping to just come through and clean that one up. No utility needed. It's just going to be Stony Brook to get a little bit too aggressive in Garage there. 4 tapping, capitalizing heavily, finding themselves now right at the top of the scoreboard with Borge there.
I guess sometimes the best strategy is just trust your shot.
Yeah.
Trust your or go in, go pew pew, secure the spike, and move on forward. As we now, of course, see taking a look on the defensive, or not the defensive, but the offensive play coming out here from Stony Brook. They're not going to opt for that force. It looks like no armor, no nothing. Just get the pistols. Pretty standard from what I remember, but I don't know what it is about this last couple of weeks or so. But we've been seeing a lot of like force stingers.
Yeah, 100%. We've been seeing that a lot from, you know, whatever team loses that pistol round. It seems like, I think it's just that some teams aren't ready for, you know, the losing team of that pistol to just come out with a force buy. Meanwhile, Borge on this Judge is in a great position to shut down everything from Stony Brook here. 2 players there, and 2 shots are good.
Nice.
Make it 4-4-3. 4 shots expended, 3 kills to be found, as Borge can just move up and possibly start wreaking even more havoc with this Judge. M spots one out. Borge not going to find them initially, but that paint shell, or that blast pack, just makes you so hard to hit, especially with a single shot gun like that Headhunter from the chamber, and Borge cleans it up in the end.
I got question marks in my mind right now. How did Ems get behind enemy lines? Like I know, or not Borge, it was Ems, I believe, who was behind enemy lines there. Borge had the shotgun up front, and somehow Ems was able to just maybe make his way up through mid or something. And
yeah, I want to say he just waltzed in through that window.
Yeah,
I mean, there was
special, just went for it.
Yeah, I mean, when, you know, 3 players are all the way down sewers too long, there's really no one covering that back, especially the chamber falls early. There literally won't even be a trap to watch that as well, but it seems like they like to set up that chamber trademark there over towards C, so up mid window is a free lane if you know those 5 players are in garden. And now it's a bit more of a default, but Tim be doing that classic raise entry, double blast pack in. Jello spamming it out, but Tim is one who finds first blood, finds second one as well. Borge gonna be getting aggressive. Judge still in hand, shuts down 2. Borge with this Judge is on fire, but the showstopper is shut down from Stony Brook, and they've got control of the B site. They've got the rotation all the way to C, and now Saints have to take this long rotation around CT.
And the fact that Ems right there was able to pick up a rifle as well, be in a little bit of a better position for maybe a possible longer range gunfight compared to what they had before with some of these submachine guns. But as we see, this post-plant scenario here for the side of Stony Brook, very similar situation, just off to the left. They're going to have to peek that corridor, that little alleyway, if they want any chance of getting towards that spike. And this is going to be pretty well next to impossible. Stony Brook just has to trade 1 for 1, and they're fine.
Yeah, luckily for the Saints, you know, they're still carrying over guns from a couple rounds ago, or from last round at least, so they're going to be willing to try and make this retake happen. Looking down long here, they're going to have to just stick on this bomb soon, as the time is running out. Ems finds 2, but the spike is going to pop. Can they find the 3rd? It's going to be Ryan to make it out as the last one alive. Now, 1 more round for Stony Brook on the board, but rifles now in the hands of the Saints here on defense, and only 3 rounds to go.
Well, honestly, not bad there from the side of Stony Brook there, and for Saints as well, to just do as much damage as possible with their leftover weapons, like you said. Now, able to buy on up. We have rifles and ops for days this time by. However, not necessarily in the greatest in terms of any sort of backup cash, but it's to be expected for an early round here in the half. But underway, let's see, it's going to be actually board over on the C side instead. So pretty much taking a break here with this possible A side aggression.
Yeah, and that's going to be because Ems is holding that down with the operator, finds the first one even while flashed, is going to get TP'd out there. Light armor, actually, from Ems to be able to have this operator in hand 3rd round, but it's already given its value as now Stony Brook missing their entry fragger, missing their way into sight. They are going to have to be super, super creative with this utility now, as there's no one to really follow up off any of the, you know, the breach utility or the fade utility here. It's just going to have to be a slow crawl into sight and work off with what you've got. You see the fault line come through to clear out that left side. Huji finds the first kill onto Sushi, but a great swing from Jello, finds 2, and he's still on site here, but you can't fight it out when you're spotted by that eye. Ryan to find the kill. Stony Brook, 1 player down now as the retake is going to get set up by the Saints.
Yeah, they took their time really planting the spike, however, so they're not going to get into position in time. The onslaught here from the Saints is already here. We just have the 1 chamber on the side of Stony Brook to try and stop this. Going to find 1. Ryan is going to push on through. 4 tapping. Nope, it's actually going to be Ems from the high ground to secure that one, and just let 4 tapping take his time with the spike to finish the job.
Yeah, Borge tried to creep up close there, and unfortunately fell to some spam towards that spike, but Ems holding it down from that high ground, like you said, being that long range backup, that sniper support there, and now 11 rounds. Saints you're only staring down 2 rounds to make this happen. And this round, especially looking at this buy from Stony Brook, could be easily secured. You know, all it's going to take is a quick pick from Ems once again, or anything of the like. You see Ems and Borge now set up at B, so this is going to be an aggressive mid play from the Saints. Ethan already getting chipped down half.
Yeah, already chunked down massively, forced to use a flash already through the wall to try and slow down the Saints' possible early aggression. But, I mean, you just basically did your game plan already. If you're in the Saints there, you blew some utility, and now going into these later portions of the round can make things just that much more difficult. More tapping through the wall, going to find one there, and this is just going to be an absolute onslaught right on the C site. The Saints are going to clean up with the flawless.
That was an amazing paranoia from 4 tapping there. You saw it come through. Looked like it hit almost all 4 players there. And then all it took was, I believe it was Ems in that corner there on Logs, who can just, you know, you got free fire there once they start walking in. You see the paranoia over their head. They got no idea you're sitting in that corner, and Ems just whipping out the headhunter and picking off some heads himself there. Now, 18-5 on Ems. Popping off here on the chamber plan, you know, pretty well, perfect, like, safe chamber play, right? Never getting too aggressive, always playing with that TP and just finding the picks for your team on defense. Now, Tim getting aggressive down B.
Absolutely, it may not be the flashiest of play, but it's effective, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And now see Tim going to be stunned up there for just a second, but as they all charge in towards this B site, we do have to be careful from the back, though. Borge with the flank. Who needs the flank when Jello goes nuts? And the rest of the Saints going to clean up game number 1 like it was nothing. We lost to this squad a few weeks ago, huh?
I mean, I don't know what to say. Could just be that they've had so much Haven experience in these past few weeks, but I mean, St. Clair, other than those first few rounds, it was nothing short of a stomp coming through, as every single round, Saints just seemed like they had the upper hand. Even in those, you know, even in the rounds they found themselves on ecos, or they found themselves down to Stony Brook in the starting, it always seemed to end up with the remaining Saints coming through and clearing out 3 or 4 rifles from the side of Stony Brook. We saw one round where both Saints died to the spike, but they took 2 down with them before that even exploded, and that just converted them into even higher round numbers there.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, it's like you said, anytime Stony Brook had any sort of footing, it was always just matched immediately. They never got the chance to snowball in any sort of, like, any sort of position. They did these weird rounds too, where it seems like they were trying to be like light buying or trying to save, but maybe 1 or 2 players maybe weren't on the same page. And granted, yes, sometimes it was because they just carried a gun from the other round from a save, but I could have sworn there was a few times where like some people were buying stingers, some people just like stuck with pistols, and it's like, if you're going to commit to the save, just save everything, I feel like. But yeah, that's just coming from me. I'm not the coach, I'm not the player, and of course I could always definitely be wrong in that regard, but at least from the outsider looking in, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with you there. It definitely seemed like a lot of rounds, just the economy was kind of mismatched on these players from Stony Brook. We saw, I believe it was their breach, Ethan. There was a few rounds where he would just pick up a Vandal while everyone else was just, like lower on that equipment scale and just didn't have the money really to follow up. And Hero Vandal can definitely put in a lot of work, but you need to be playing around it. That needs to be your key game plan for the round. And when it starts off with Ems just finding an op pick, making it out unscathed, and now your Vandal's down, your entry is down. What do you do after that point?
I mean, because Ethan, especially the first couple rounds, Ethan was actually popping off, had like 9 eliminations by round 4. So I can definitely understand like feeling really good and wanting to get in there. And as the breach, in theory, the rest of the team's playing around you anyway, considering you're all the utility. That's the thing. You're all the utility. You're not the one going in there for the fight initially. Usually somebody else, usually your teammate was the one who maybe got their attention. By the time you swing, we were already looking at you. Or in a worst case scenario, you have to kind of move in for yourself. And I mean, that's not what Breach was made for.
Yeah, so after a bit of a rough pistol round start there for the Saints, they come back and dominate Stony Brook here in map 1 on Haven, and we'll be moving into map 2. I believe it's Ascent after a short little break here, but yeah, Ascent followed up by Breeze, map 3, possibly if we make it there. Yeah, but I mean, we had some Breeze action yesterday. Personally, I loved to see it. It was great to see just a new map on stream here, at least for this season.
No, I feel you. We've seen the same 3 maps for a good while in this collegiate regular season, regardless of if it's CVAL or if it's NECC. But that being said, we're going to get the lobby all set up for game number 2. Going to have to be thrown into a very, very quick break as I disappear off to the left-hand side here, and we will rejoin you on the Stairways of Ascent.
are back here for map 2 Ascent. Saints looking to take this 1-0 and try to just convert it. Ascent, a map that they've been, you know, very, very strong on in the past here, but Stony Brook, I don't think I've personally seen them on Ascent here, and we see a bit of a different comp coming through. We're going to swap out duelists for these teams. It's Borge going back to his patented raise there, while it's Huji on the jet this time for the side of Stony Brook. We also saw Stony Brook with a little bit of a roster change coming into the second map. Yeah, we do have Groovy there in on that Omen. I'm trying to think. Oh, it was Ryan who came out. Ryan was on that chamber last round. It's now Tim on the chamber.
Yeah, and Tim was more of the the duelist in that last time by, so picking up the chamber instead, definitely a change of play style in that regard. But I mean, it's something that Saints have even played around with too, right? Having these larger rosters, just being able to change the pieces as you see fit, change the players as you see fit, so to speak, as we now get ready to get this game underway. It's going to be the Saints on the defensive side of things immediately going to just absolutely nuke Sable.
Yeah, the classic setup. We talked about it all last game, and there they're going to use it down by B Garage, and it's going to catch that fade from the side of Stony Brook. Sable falls as the first pick in this round. Ems, keeping watch of this tiles area. You got 2 players set up around top mid. It's going to be, I believe it's Groovy there on the Omen, down to 7 health. After a bit of a 1v2 fight there in Gelato. Tim having an absolute crack shot there. 2 headshots to come through, saving his friend there, the Omen, as well. Groovy gonna keep alive for a little bit longer, but a lot of the side of Stony Brook here is very low on health. It's only gonna take 1 body shot here from Ems to come through. Okay, 2 on Tim there, but Tim is gonna fall. Only 2 more headhunter shots in Ems' arsenal here, but now Borge and Ems rotating towards this B site. Stony Brook, now these teams just playing a little bit of ring around the rosy on the map, as they have to play these rotations well. Stony Brook has to play it together here, but it's only going to take a few shots to take 1 down. Ems now out of those headhunter shots as Stony Brook makes their play towards A. St. Clair going to be a little bit behind on that rotation.
Yeah, however, they might be able to get to the site before they can get into a proper post plan. Groovy is good to go, but can the rest of the squad get there in time? It looks like they are just barely. Possible collision course there with the jet. Borge is going to find them in that regard, try and take maybe the low ground, go through the doorway, but gonna have to definitely make some noise to try and get through there. So opting to go for the long way around, it looks like. Oh, never mind. Borge is going to reach on through and bring out the Roomba to get the job done in that regard. But time is ticking. They need to move immediately, otherwise they're going to run out of time. Borge is going to secure the first one, but can they get the last 2? Ems finds 1. They do end up getting all 3, but do they have enough time to actually get this defuse off?
Should be able to. The time is ticking. It's about to blow, but 4 seconds left. Borge is going to make it out of that one with a 3K in his pocket as well. And what a retake from the Saints there. They recognized, all right, we had to have chipped him down enough, right? These players are definitely low. Everyone else who fell going to be able to have that info for the team. And now Saints take that pistol round here on Ascent. They're going to be converting this into a buy as well. You see a Stinger, you see 2 Spectres, Bulldog on Jello as well, and Ems, the classic chamber move. Just fill back up your headhunter, grab some armor, and see what you can do.
Absolutely. Moving forward here for round number 2. Sushi already getting a little bit of action here. 3 members on the side of Stony Brook looking towards that B site. However, you do have to watch out for Groovy over on the other side. Rather outnumbered, however. But looking to try and move on through this section. Maybe try and get a little bit aggressive, but a little bit of a stalemate to say the least here to start off this one. But Ems is going to find the 1 on the other side by A.
Yeah, there's that first utility, or that last piece of utility to come out of the fade there. Borge stuck in the corner. He's able to find 1, not before Tim can trade him out with that headhunter. Now, one of them has a Spectre in hand, but Sushi locked down in the corner with that Spectre. Finds 3, 1v3 there from the corner, and you're able to find that, pick up the second round.
Okay, Sushi, your flicks or snaps, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely ridiculous. Following that jet perfectly and being able to turn it on over towards the other two members of Stony Brook, just cleaning house all by himself. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want that Spectre to be doing on that second round. Find as much value as possible. Just shred through those players who you know are going to be on ecos. You know they're only going to have pistols in hand. So the close range fight is not even a question. That Spectre is going to come out on top. Now Sushi taking their utility combos here with Borge over towards A. It's going to be that chamber, Ems, and I believe it's 4-tapping on that Omen who's set up on B. Jello spots out one mid with a nice little jump peek, and now they've got the info that mid control has been taken by Stony Brook. They're going to back off just a little bit.
Yeah, but slowly but surely now the side of Stony Brook going to move on through the jet, leading the charge here. But not going to...
There's the combo.
And this could be deadly there, but is going to get out of dodge just in time. Tim is going to find Borge. Sushi does see the aggression coming out towards this A side. Going to be surrounded in just a moment's time. Could be troublesome. Going to go 1-for-1 at least. Sable going to take care of him there. 4-tapping through the smoke is going to be able to take care of one as well. Huji though, getting one. Jello going to get one. Goes down, however. It's going to be all up to Ems to try and take down these last two remaining players of Stony Brook. Both on the low ground, but Ems is right there.
Yeah, definitely doable with this Headhunter. Ems just has to be on his shot. No more Headhunter for about 5 seconds. Picks up that Bulldog. Has to check every angle, but both players just stacked up under Heaven here. You can see right in front of that Sloth. Both players on the same side under Heaven as well. You peek one, you're peeking two, and you might get shot down. Ems gonna have to find a good collat there, but it's Ethan to be on that shot. That's what happens when you've got the higher tier weaponry, but Saints can take, you know, you're not too sad about that round, as you know, you had Spectres in hand. You had, I think it was a Bulldog and a Stinger from last round, and you're able to, you know, drop 3 rifles. Now Tim in a tough position. You can see Tim and Groovy, both of them have to opt for that light armor. Only light armor coming through from Saints is going to be Ems on that op. Going to be taking that cat position, going to be peeking right down tiles, sets up the TP as well. Should be good for some info, or maybe for one. Not if Huji is going to hit that 1-tap to come through. Stony Brook now up a player, and they know Operator down. They're going to be able to push up Cat and even grab that for themselves.
Yeah, there's no way the Saints will be able to pick that one up at all, but it very well could turn into Stony Brook's hands, just like you said. And now looking towards this A spot. Granted, the spike's all the way down towards B. Finally going to get the move on in that regard. About a minute left still in the round to make something happen. But a very, very solid play there from Stony Brook. Very rarely do you see Ems lose that trade, so able to get that player advantage right away is absolutely sick. 4-tapping, going to find the one on the Huji, going to even this one up, but it looks like it's pretty well committed towards the A site.
Yeah, good spray from 4-tapping, good for a little bit of damage, actually a bit of damage onto that KO as well, but 4-tapping stuck at around 30 health themselves. Tim nestled up here towards these boxes. This is going to be the boxes that allows you to peek up onto Heaven there, but you can see the flash getting lined up from Ethan as well. This could be a bit of a peek to come through from Tim. There's the flash. It's good on to Borge. The shot is good as well. Now it's Jello to set up their own pop flash. Kills one Gen. Sushi spraying him down under Heaven, and they're able to find it. That Odin coming through with an absolute rain of bullets and finds 2 kills in the end. Saints convert their 3rd round, pick up the op back again as well, and now Stony Brook's economy in a tough position. 3 players below 3K at the starting of this round.
Oh, the Brothers of Destruction coming on through, clutching up that round. That looked like it could have got so messy. Ethan had a really solid KO flash that it got maybe 2 to 3 members of the Saints as they were moving forward. Borge ended up being the casualty there, but nonetheless, the rest of the Saints were able to trade things out eventually, with the Brothers, of course, clutching it up in the end. So with that, it's going to be a little bit of one of those awkward buys there. I don't know how you necessarily consider the Marshall. I don't know if I call that like a light buy or what, but it's a Marshall with a bunch of pistols. Looks like on the side of Stony Brook.
Yeah, Marshall, I feel like it's there in that save buy category, right? It's cheaper than a Spectre. It's around the same price as a Stinger, I believe. I believe it's at $950. Now, I know things have changed a little bit in Valorant since I last played, but it is always a good eco option. I mean, you can, you know, glass cannon a Marshall, spend 950 in the round, get 3 headshots, and now you've got infinite value from that gun. I mean, it's just like that scout coming from CS, right? It's one-shot headshot. It's a little longer range than that Sheriff as well, so you're getting that value out of it. Great from 4-tapping to shut down that tour de force. Going to take a lot of damage through the smoke. Jello with a double down near A main there. And now it's just one left from Stony Brook. Sable stuck in this smoke. Yep. Jello picks up the 3K and finishes it off with a flawless for the team here.
Yep, all of the angles were covered. Nonetheless, that time there for the Saints, able to clean that up nice and quickly. No major casualties, able to keep that buy round to as minimal value as possible. Meanwhile, we take a look at some of the wallets here on the side of the Saints, and we've got a lot of 4,000s in the bank here. And just even if a round goes wrong, Saints are probably sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, listen, we talk a lot about curses on this stream, and I know I'm the prime candidate to curse our Saints team here, but Saints, after losing to Stony Brook in those NECC quarterfinals a couple weeks ago, it seems like they took that to heart. They are not going to be defeated by this team once again. They are going to be the ones with a 2-1 record against them. Saints are just looking absolutely phenomenal. Comes a lot off the back of, you know, a lot of these flashes from Jello, some great utility combos between Sushi and Borge, as well as Sushi just being an absolute madman when it comes to spray transfers and just fighting things out in those clutch situations. Now, 5 players from Stony Brook ready to make this push onto A. Saints playing A very, very passively, not even going to be in line of sights initially. Allow the plant to be taken, keep 5 players up, and play for this 5-man retake. You baited a lot of utility there at the starting as well. Borge ready to try and find this paint shell kill.
Yeah, just waiting on the rest of the Saints to get into position. Just waiting for 4-tap, and it looks like there it is. We are going to get the grenades going through. Nightfall alongside this as well. Going to try and move on forward. Huji and Tim are going to be the first ones there. Tim going to find 2 as well. Immediately shutting the door onto the Saints. Jello going to get knocked down, and sure enough, one more on top of that as well. So honestly, a very, very strong attack from Stony Brook. Able to get themselves on the point before Saints could even react, because it was like a 5-on-1. And wisely, the Saints didn't dive in immediately, but they just got completely mowed down upon trying to retake.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that retake, or at least the give of the site, right? You're allowing them to take that space, but going for a 5v5 retake is hard, especially with all of this area control they have. You know, you forget that Stony Brook also has a KO, also has a fade. It's so easy for a KO to toss a knife there on balcony, and 4 players on that retake no longer have utility to use, right? It's so easy to shut that down, not to mention Tim being absolutely on his shot here in this second game, finding a 3K that round, and looks like Stony Brook is going to be making another A play here. M's first shot not going to connect, and Ethan is right on it as that smoke fades. Ethan takes down M's down mid. Tim, another headshot to come through. Tim cannot be shut down right now. 4-tapping nearsighted as well from that Prowler, has to retreat, and Tim has such a good position up here on balcony. They're not ready for it. Tim finds 1, holding the angle for the second. Only Sushi and Borge alive. We've seen this combo do some crazy things, but a 2v5 retake, can they do it? They've got all the utility in their hands to make it happen, but they're just being forced out by all of Stony Brook's. Groovy finds the trade onto Borge. It's just Sushi left. 15 health, spotted out as well, and suppressed. All you've got to your name is a Vandal. Have to shoot this one out. Now down to a 1v1 off of 3 kills. Picks the angle wrong. Ethan closes that one out, bringing Stony Brook only down 1 round now.
Man, that was a solid attempt there from Sushi, to be completely honest. In that kind of scenario, yeah, you had to pick left or right. Unfortunately, going to pick the wrong one this time but a valiant effort nonetheless here. Saints still not in too bad of a position. Looks like Jello's going to have to settle for a submachine gun instead of a rifle, to say the least. But Everybody else on the Saints pretty much loaded up with Vandals and good to go. That being said, though, the side of Stony Brook ready to go. Maybe this is their opportunity to try and snowball this even more so than they already have.
Yeah, and a Spectre on defense is not the worst thing in the world, as a lot of these angles you're going to be taking, especially near this A site, are shorter angles. At least if you're getting aggressive in terms of defense, you definitely probably not going to see any more of those, you know, allow them to take the space plays, because coming back on a retake with a Spectre is, you know, not prime time for that gun. But in terms of executes, it looks like Stony Brook going to be setting up B here. It's Borge and Sushi on the defense.
Yeah, and some of these nades, if Borge happens to sense that this is coming alongside the partner there, the Fade, they could easily do some major AoE to this squad if they are ready. But looks like we're going to back up for the time being. Borge, a little bit of a gunfight, but not going to tag anybody as of this moment. Now Huji moving on forward. All the Saints kind of stuck on back lines. Huji does find one. Sushi fighting for his life down on the bottom side of things. 4-tapping finds one. 4-tapping finds another. 4 going down. Tim, though, going to immediately answer alongside Ethan. So this is now 3-on-1, all up to the KO on the side of St. Clair. Try to retake this.
Yeah, Jello coming in from CT here. Smoked off by that Omen, by a Groovy there. He's just going to pop another one. Jello, tough position here, because you're in the position where, do you want to save? Do you want to try and make this happen? Or do you just want to try to find X's? He might just chill in this smoke until someone falls. Not even going to find anyone on that suppress. Pop Flash comes out, but all 3 players are just sitting there in their corners in those anti-flash positions, just waiting for that to happen. You know it's going to come out from that KO in the end, and Jello plays right into their hands. Stony Brook evening up this game 4-4 on the attack and coming into full stride here as their executes now going well their way almost every round here in the past 3 rounds.
Yeah, now let's get to the point where some of these losses are actually starting to hurt the bank a little bit here on this side of St. Clair. Going to be opting for the submachine guns, exception of that one Vandal on the as the Saints, but it seems like the Stony Brook are starting to figure this out a little bit. They're not falling for the immediate grenade stuff. They're not falling for Ems's early, whether it be the op or whether it be the headhunter, not falling for those easy kills. They're taking their time a little bit more, not rushing on in, because it seems like the Saints kind of thrive on chaos, but this is a much more calm, cool, and collected Stony Brook.
Yeah, and it's that same thing that brought them to the win last game as well on that Haven. It was just aggressive plays at the starting. Borge running in with a judge, finding 3, right? That converts them into so many rounds off of some crazy plays like that. Whereas this time, Stony Brook, they see the utility combos they like at the starting of the game. They see exactly what the Saints' defense game plan is, and now they are just sitting here and waiting to show off their gun skill, to show that they can make those picks at the starting, make quick executes. Nobody is ready for 4-tapping, lurking in that smoke. He's able to find one, but Ethan there on the trade. Ems's presence is detected under Heaven here. He's got a shorty in hand. Gonna have to wait for somebody to play into his hand, but the smoke fades and Ems is gonna fall to Huji's Vandal there. Now 2v4 here. Sushi and Borge once again in this retake position, as those are those B players. 1 kill is good. On to Tim. That's a big pick there from the Saints, but Huji and Ethan have shown that they are just as scary.
No way.
Huji and Groovy gonna fall. It's just Ethan left on site. Paint shells are good. They know he's gonna peek out to the left. Sushi, you're good for that kill. Gonna find the defuse as well. Saints battling back after 3 losing rounds, 3 heavily losing rounds, and they come back in a 2v4 retake. Great plays from Sushi and Borge.
You know that they're excited when you can feel the floor shake. And after a round like that, a nice clutch up there for Sushi. Leading the charge here in terms of eliminations here for St. Clair. I do not to blame them in the slightest. That's exactly the kind of round they needed. They felt like they were kind of falling behind, getting snowballed on just ever so slightly, but being able to shut down that play in what looks like almost a hopeless attack. Like, they were completely outmanned, for the most part outgunned as well, but they were able to pull it off and get the Saints back on the positive side of things.
Yeah, and it all came off of that initial pick onto Tim, spotting him out with the Prowler. You know, 1 player sitting A main, the rest of them most likely located around that site. Some great utility usage there from Borge. Push it off for Sushi. 4-tapping. spots out Huji, doesn't know that the rest are there, but a great spray there from 4-tapping, finding 2 headshots, shutting down both initiators from the side of Stony Brook. Great pop flash from Jello, converts it into one of his own, and the Tour de Force coming down for that trade. 4-tapping for the 3rd of the round onto Huji there, and now it's Tim from Stony Brook. The crack shot of Stony Brook here. Tour de Force in hand. Nice jump peek from Sushi. Should have been able to spot him out. And now Smoke is going to come down from 4-tapping. Literally just has to push forward for this bomb.
Yeah, this is so uncomfortable for the side of Tim. Does have to switch off the Tour de Force because, yeah, you're not going to be able to win that gunfight. You might get one, but you're going to immediately get traded. Getting the rifle would be the better idea in theory. Left. We're going to see in just a second. Is immediately traded out anyway. Sure, 4-tapping did go down, but Sushi cleans this up and gets a Saints 2nd round in a row.
Yeah, I think that play right there is just a testament to Tim's skill, Tim's mechanics.
Even get one.
I mean, literally gets one a pixel after coming out of that smoke. That's hard. There's like 5 different angles you have to be thinking of there. There's one on the block right in front of you. You got right side coming out of that smoke, that little cubby corner there. And then you have that entire garden area, that entire tree area to deal with. But Tim, just on those flicks, is super strong. He's able to find one. The trade is good, and the round win is good. Saints, 6-4 here. 2 more rounds for them, and you found yourself another 8-4 half, just like last game. Ems, great pick off the start, allows Borge to move up deep into top mid here. Borge finds 2 off the back of Ems' pick, and now Stony Brook falling apart in this round. Bladestorm is expended, gonna find 4-tapping, but it's a 3rd for Borge. It's a 4th for Borge in the round, and 7-4 for the half. Saints now in a very, very advantageous position, even if Stony Brook comes back and fights this round out, takes the win. You're still taking a 7-5 half. You're still taking a lead in the half, and then you move on to attack.
All right, the Saints that might have been a little bit cold over the last couple of rounds, finding their stride there. Borge getting on the board, and then Ems, I'm sure that feels good. Getting that op shot after what feels like a couple times. Kind of got outdueled a little bit in the earlier rounds, but able to get it, hang on to that op. This is the perfect opportunity to try and, I guess, snowball at the same time. It is also the half just around the corner, so let's see if they can get one more before half, like you said.
Yeah, not gonna be anyone tiles here, but Ems still on this close angle, peeks up, finds Huji. There's another 1st round pick from Ems. Ems finally heating up this game on that chamber, doing exactly what is necessary of that chamber player. Showstopper from Borge down mid is good for a 2nd kill, and now it's Tim, Ethan, and Ruby, I believe it, or Sable, the last one, but he's gonna fall. Ethan left in a 1v2 here. Nightfall is good. He's marked, he's decayed. Now he's nearsighted, gonna get a pop flash off mid, but really just stuck here mid. There's so many trails leading to him. They know exactly where Ethan is hiding, but Ethan has to try and make a play for this spike now. Saints, I don't think they knew that the spike was actually down on Cat there, and they just still have to play defense on these sites.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see they're kind of splitting their attention, just trying to cover up as many angles as possible here. Maybe see if they can get a peek to the center and see what's going on. But Ethan has to, his head must be going a million miles a minute at this point here, because you have so many options, but which one is actually covered or not is the question. Granted, right now, it looks like he's actually taking the right one, going over towards this beast site. He doesn't realize it, but it's completely uncontested. He could get to the site, probably plant this thing down before having to worry about anybody. They should hear the spike going down, but it definitely, if they're going to go the same way, this is a chance.
Oh, spotted out by that eye. Great utility from Sushi there to spot out Ethan. Ethan, I mean, that's the corner that you play when you're in the solo hold of B, I think. I think that's a great one, as it's hard to see you there while you're actually walking out of that side. You have to really push down into the deeper part of the site, but not when there's Fade utility to spot you out. Sushi, once again, coming in here, having an amazing day for themselves once again. 13-5, and the utility can't be forgotten. 7 assists as well.
But I'm still extremely nervous there for the Saints, because, yeah, sure enough, that was the 2-on-1, but when they were going on for that left-hand side, I'm thinking to myself, okay, sure, they do have utility, but it just takes one lucky shot to just go through both of them, right?
It's
but,
one collat.
Yeah, one collat, and all of a sudden, this is a completely different game. But of course, everything kind of reset a little bit now that we are here on these pistol rounds. Halftime has occurred. Saints get their try their hand at the attacking side.
And Saints, you're only 5 rounds away from stamping your ticket to NECC Grand Finals. A nice molly from Jello is going to take down Tim. Sable just ran down by Borge there. A couple right clicks to come out from that classic, and it's good. Groovy, Ethan, and Huji here on the retake now. 2 coming from Garage. Ethan finds the pick onto Ems, but the info that there's 2 coming from Garage is super valuable to the Saints here. They can just completely hold that angle down. Huji! Oh, I wish we could get a replay of that shot. Wow, but 4-tapping shuts down. 9-4 now. Pistol round secured. Bulldogs bought back up. Spectres in hands as well. This is all the way looking to like a 10-4 for the Saints.
I mean, like, props to Huji to at least bring this a little bit closer than it obviously should have been. But at the same time, the Saints, they had their crossfires in order. Every angle was checked, and a solid hold nonetheless there for the Saints. Like I said, a little bit of a firepower outmatch this time by, and if Saints can capitalize on this, bringing them to 10, really make them sit pretty here. Borge diving on through, going up high, going to try and spray on through. 4-tapping's got his back, however. Sable going to be the first casualty here in this round. Tim, the hot shot himself, trying to get something through, but that door is just going to absolutely make things difficult. Ems with the shot there onto Huji as well. Saints up by 2.
Yeah, shut down the flanker, shut down the players on the rotation, and Saints taking that while only dropping 1 player. Looked like it could have been very, very different story there as Borge, you know, mistimes the satchel a little bit, actually. Flies straight up into the air, but Saints, you know his teammates have his back there, and instead, it's Borge to be in position to just shut the garage door as well. So, you know, not the entry he was looking for, but works out in the end
what are you
nonetheless.
Talking about? That was calculated.
Yeah, super calculated. It was a bait,
he
right?
slammed on the brakes. It was
yeah, exactly.
It was a fake. Yeah,
yeah, Sable was expecting Borge to fly around that corner, so he, you know, hit the brakes a little bit, moved back. This could be a dangerous situation, but Ray's utility to follow up. That's where the jet comes in. Huji with the first shot. Going to be taking a lot of damage. Not able to find a second kill either. Still a 4v4 here as the alt orb is picked up in Garage. That's going to be going to 4-tapping on that Omen. M still holding it down here in mid, making sure his team has room to cross over here, but 2 players in tree there. If Saints are looking for a cat push, they could be in for a rude awakening here in this round.
Honestly, props to Stony Brook to maybe favor that B side a little bit more, expecting maybe a little bit of heavy aggression coming out there from Saints, and Borge specifically able to get themselves at least to an even 1 right here. Ems is possibly on a collision course here with a couple of the members of Stony Brook through middle. Looking back towards that B side, they really took their time making things around, and it maybe faked out that they were going towards that A site. But now, utility is coming on out. They're going to start pushing this one. Sable's going to be the first line of defense alongside the jet. Spray on through the smoke, but maybe a little bit of chip damage, but nothing too crazy as of yet. Tushi just making things extremely difficult, letting the rest of his teammates run towards that B site, get this thing planted. Sure, the cavalry has arrived here from Stony Brook, but they're going to get post plants.
Huji and Sable not as low, but Huji being as low as they are means any bullet spraying through this smoke could mean the end of their time in this round. But a nice little pop flash from Ethan. They're able to push out of that smoke, get control of this shack here, and now they can make a 2-sided push. But Jello and 4-tapping on these stairs. Jello not going to get sprayed down, 4 health, and still able to find that kill in the end. Wow. Saints are going to clean it up 11-4, looking to shut down this series in 2-0 fashion here on Ascent.
Blink and you miss it, the observer's nightmare kind of scenario that time by, where just after a snap of the fingers, everybody just died. But that just goes to show how solid of a post plant that the Saints had there, with every crossfire just being locked down. And as soon as they side of Stony Brook tried to make their move, get absolutely mowed down. And another round here where the Saints are just absolutely mismatching the Stony Brook squad in terms of firepower, and they can get themselves a match point if they can keep this up. Trade it off the start start, though. Forge is going to go down, but Ems is going to at least trade this 1-for-1.
Yeah, and it's rough for Stony Brook too, because we saw them at the starting of this game. It looks like they had really made that adjustment from last game and really were able to battle back with the Saints here. But now Saints switching to attack, and Borge on that rage, the combos with all these utilities, the post-plant setups, they're just nothing but phenomenal. Nothing short of phenomenal from the Saints. You see perfect pop flash from Jello. Like, where did they get the intel that Tim would be there? Nowhere. Four tapping finds 2 in the end as well. Sable here, like 10 health to stop the Saints from match point. But there it is. Saints 12-4 now, looking to take this home. The buys here from Stony Brook, they're possible, but you see Groovy, Sheriff in hand. Huji, only that Blade Storm in the pocket there. Sable stuck on light armor as well, or is able to buy up that full armor, but might have to be foregoing utility in the end here. This is the decisive round. Saints, if you take this, you are going to NECC Grand Finals to take on one of those other Titans in the bracket, to take on Fisher, to take on you, Ottawa. The winner of that match will decide it. Jello to find the first pick onto Tim. Sable suppressed from that null command, has to just move all the way back into Boathouse here. Borge, double blast pack to get in there super cleanly, but Sable shuts them down, and Spike is down on site. This is tough for the Saints here as they now have to push into Sable. Nice flash from Jello, shuts down Sable, but not enough before they fall to, before they take down Sushi. Now 1v1, 4 tapping versus the Blade Storm, 16 health on Huji, and 4 tapping, taking that name to its limits as he takes 4 shots there on to Huji, and they are gonna fall.
Oh, absolutely fantastically done there from the Saints to finish that one off, and just clutching things up there. 4 tapping is going to be credited with the most amount of eliminations here in this one.
I believe it was 20 to finish it off there, around that number. 4 tapping
leads the chart with 20.
Leads the chart with 20, 348 combat score to boot. That Omen looking very, very strong on 4 tapping. A nice switch up from the Astra that we had seen a lot recently, in the Paranoia putting in a lot of work in this set. That extra flash on the team, on top of the KO, on top of that Fade utility as well. Those Prowlers, which pretty well act as a flash in the end. They're a bit of an info gathering and a flash, so it's great to come through. But that Omen pick really making its mark here in this series.
Yeah, and he was really sneaky, especially the second to last round there, where the Saints were in progress of getting themselves towards the point. They had the spike basically already down, but they were a little bit too late for their post plants. But 4 tapping teleported up onto the high ground, I do believe, and just met them before you'd normally feel encounter, right where the little cubby hole, I'm not 100% sure what it's called. I think they refer to it as hell sometimes. But being on top of there, they did not expect him there to get the double kill. Sure, ended up losing his life at the end, though, but that just made it so that 4-on-4 was a 4-on-2 before they really even had the opportunity to strike, and that just propelled them into that last round, and to be able to have the Saints immediately start that final round, getting a nice quick first blood as well, and just momentum was riding high. It looks like Stony Brook started the snowball initially. It got cut off, and Saints just took it all the way downhill.
Yeah, and I think that snowball being shut down can all be attributed, at least in that second map, to Ems really coming online, right? It took a long time. It took 6 or 7 rounds, but once Ems had that, I believe it was his second alt buy of the game, he finally got it in hand, and he started consistently finding those initial picks and finding good flank angles as well. He was often shutting down, at least on the defense side, shutting down Huji on that flank, who was a huge player to come in. I mean, we saw him on some of those pistol rounds, eco rounds, still finding 2 or 3 with the Sheriff. He's definitely one to look out for, but Ems able to shut that down on the chamber.
Yeah, and then Jello, Sushi, everybody was absolutely like turning it up near the midsection towards the end of that one. I know that that outnumbered it was the two brothers up against, I believe, 4. They were able to clutch that up, and it's just moments like that, those shaking the floor and the walls kind of hype moments that really drive this team, and it definitely was fun to experience and fun to cast, and I definitely also thank you for casting with me today.
Yeah, it was an awesome series to cast, 2-0 and a dominant 2-0 at that, and Saints moving on to that grand finals where I'm not sure exactly the date. I'm assuming it'll come next week. You might know a little more than me about that, Dan, but
I want to say you're right.
Yeah, definitely in the future for the broadcast here. But yes, Saints, NECC Grand Finals. We've seen them there before. We've seen them fall there before. But a new Saints roster and a new fire lit under them here in the league as they take this very dominant win and are just going to run with it.
Yeah, but whoever they meet in Grand Finals, it's going to be scary. It's either way, you're going up against U Ottawa, which definitely gave us a run for our money the last time we played, and Fisher, which, I mean, at any point that we're talking about going up against Fisher, you know it's going to be a close game, which I've already jinxed the match a week ahead of time, because anytime I say it's going to be a close game, it's going to be a blowout, which means Saints are going to absolutely blow this one out, right?
So, of course.
We'll have to see how things go on, but that more than likely will be next Monday, if I recall correctly. Monday does seem to be Valorant Day, like you were saying before. And whether it's on our stream or NECC's, we will definitely give you the heads up via our social medias when we get the confirmations.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a game to watch regardless of which team makes it there, whether it be you, Ottawa. We've got a little bit of a rivalry with them. Fisher, of course, like you said. At this point, it doesn't even matter the esport. You know the Saints are coming up against Fisher. You know it's going to be a game to watch. You know it's going to be an exciting match. But that will wrap us up for tonight. Dan, thank you for coming on the cast with me. And
it was fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, doing a bit of that dual production work here, but that is going to be it for us. I'm Josh Fundy Pafundi, joined by Dan Banner. Shout out to Casper from the Valorant team as well, helping us out with some observing tonight, making it so Dan's
literally
not doing 3 rolls.
Literally breaches through the door. I heard you need an observer. Yes, come on in, man. Come on in. And it absolutely clutched up. And it looked like you'd done that before, but it's not it hasn't been with us. Maybe we'll get you on again. Nicely done today.
Yeah, but honestly, some awesome free cam angles helped a lot in some of those situations that are a little hard to track with the utility. Hopefully, you guys found it a little bit easier to follow on stream as well.
And I learned something today, that there was a sloth underneath that section.
Yeah, you did. I never noticed the sloth. Yeah, sloth with the lantern there. He's just guiding everyone's way.
Absolutely. But with that being said, we shall close out for tonight. The next broadcast that you will see from us here on the Saints Gaming Stage channel will be League of Legends on Wednesday. I believe it's scheduled for a 7 p.m. start. That is also a NECC semifinal matchup. Not 100% sure as to the opponent. However, with us getting to that near end of the playoffs, you know it's going to be a good one, especially with the Saints ready to go to Philadelphia this weekend.
Yeah.
We want to be going there on a good note, so be sure to join us for that.
Yeah, I think that's just about going to wrap us up for tonight. Once again, hope all of you had an amazing time tonight, as much as an amazing time as I had casting. And without further ado, have a good night.